I'm back. Thank you guys so much. It's been a long awaited time, but your boy JoeProdigy is indeed back for these videos. And without further ado, because I don't want to waste any time talking about why I was gone for 3 months, this will be explained throughout the entirety of the video, but I want to get straight into how I rebuilt myself, starting now. A few years ago, I was falsely accused. Now, I won't say what I was falsely accused of because that might get taken down because YouTube is kind of soft, but I was accused nonetheless. I was just 18 and I was just starting college. And in that moment, I literally thought everything was gonna get taken away from me, man. Like literally snatched just like that. My first semester in college, started to make some new friends, got a little friend group going. Everything was setting into stone. And then that situation happened. My power, my reputation, my identity got taken away from me. People turned on me and started looking at me like I was a criminal, and I really wasn't. And at that moment, it made me question a lot of things. And honestly, it made me question everything. Not because I was guilty, but because my words had no effect. My words had no power. Their words were stronger than my truth. And even when I was found innocent, I still didn't feel free. And it's been 7 years since that incident happened, and I still don't feel free. You know, that event didn't just scar me. It morphed me. It changed me. I used to literally be a social butterfly, man. Like literally bright, quirky, full of life. Ask anyone in high school, they'll tell you that. But after that incident, man, I just became quiet. I shut down. I stopped talking. I stopped trusting myself. I stopped trusting people, and I just became so insecure with every single movement. Every single action I made, I was thinking, are these people gonna think I'm weird? Are these people gonna think I actually did what I was falsely accused of? Maybe I should stop. Maybe I should just go back to not doing anything. Maybe I should be a people pleaser and just do what they tell me. Oh boy, oh boy. But before I get into that, let me just say that during that time period, I learned to embrace solitude. Now you look at people like Andrew Tate or like any of those like alpha male figures, they're telling you to embrace the solitude, dive into what it really means to be a man and like learn how to fend for yourself. I get it. I'm not gonna talk too deeply about that. I'm talking about my experience. That solitude is okay, but you have to have it in moderation. You know, there's a picture on my desk of when I was in high school, and I keep it on my desk as a reminder to show myself now who I was back then before that incident happened, who I was before college. And man, I look at that picture and I think to myself, that kid on that portrait doesn't know how dark the world can get. He doesn't know how dark the world can get. He doesn't know how people can treat you when things don't go their way, so they sacrifice you to get what they want. You know, I felt like at some point I became Batman. Not Bruce Wayne before his parents died. I became what happened after his parents died. I became Batman. That's how I felt. Heavy, angry, just quiet. I just completely shut down. Always trying to prove something though, yet always on the edge. And honestly, I feel like in the process, I did hurt a lot of people along the way. Some girls that could have potentially been my girlfriend at the time. Some friends, some managerial relationships. I would even argue that some family members got the back end consequence of it. But we're here for the healing process. We're here to move past that. So this is where the rebuild happens. I never went to therapy. I never really wanted to go to therapy. I always thought therapy was more so for people with like actual issues. And not saying that my issue is not an actual issue, I just never considered my issue to be that extravagant to go to therapy. So I relied on meditation. I relied on the solitude, just thinking to myself, what can I do to get better? That whether that be going to the gym, doing well in school, getting a good job. I worked at Chipotle at the time, and I was just rising through the ranks until I got to be the service manager at the time. And that was my relief. That was my escape from the anxiety I felt from that incident. You know, I sat with God. Currently now, as I'm still trying to get over that hump, I sat with ChatGPT. I journaled a little bit too. I wrote down some of my deepest and darkest secrets on a pad somewhere that's locked away that no one can find. And you know, the more I wrote, the more I thought, the more I realized that event still had this unprecedented power over me. Basically, I was carrying shame for something I didn't even do. And that shame turned me into a people pleaser, which I am not. I may like to make sure people feel good, but I am nowhere near a people pleaser. I get what I need to get done, and whether people get hurt along the process due to their own mistakes, that's fine. They can handle it their own selves, if that makes sense. But I don't like to people please, but I do like to help others out when they need it. I just want to make sure that's said before people start thinking differently. I just became a people pleaser in relationships, in conversations, at work, at home. You know, just trying to prove to people that I was a safe person to be around. I was a good person. I was trying to be accepted. But then, not even a week ago, I realized that I was never meant to ask for a place in the pack. I was never meant to ask for a place in the pack. I am the pack. I was made to lead. And let me tell you what I learned. I learned something very interesting about people, man. They don't respect you if you don't respect yourself. Or they don't respect what you don't respect in yourself. You can be kind, you can be compassionate, you can be a nice guy, but there are limits to these three qualities. If you don't stand up for yourself for what's right, if you don't speak with strength, you'll keep getting disrespected. So over time, I've learned to speak with more fire, more love. There's two sides to the sword of how I speak and communicate with people, to defend my name without begging for that. And most importantly, I think it's very, very key to realize that you need to learn how to build something that doesn't depend on validation. A lot of people might know what I'm talking about here, because a lot of people, especially in college, from what I realized, they live their life as if they were on a TV show, as if they're on Jersey Shore, as if they were reality TV. All they really crave for is attention and validation for whatever they're doing. And that could be something that can take advantage of a nice person's persona. Because if that person's getting validated for doing something terribly wrong, they're going to keep doing it, even if it's against their nature. And in my opinion, I felt like I was coerced to earn that validation by people pleasing, when in nature, I'm not a people pleaser. But enough about me. What I want to emphasize, that the most important thing to do when you're building something is to do it without receiving validation or expecting validation, which requires a mindset, a presence, and a message. So this is the reason why I relaunched JoeProdigy, because I'm done playing small. I really am. I'm tired of the whole surface level bullshit advice. And not saying that the advice I was giving was bullshit, but I feel like with the experiences that I've dealt with and been keeping from y'all, I'm just gonna say it, because at this point, who am I really helping if I'm faking my experiences and keeping that away from you? No, that's not what I'm trying to say here. Who am I to keep the important stuff from my life away from you guys? Because more than likely than not, a couple of you guys might be going through the exact same thing and haven't really learned how to get over that hump, because people like me are giving you surface level advice when sometimes a person really needs to get to the nitty-gritty details of things. And I hope YouTube doesn't take me down for saying the stuff I'm going to say in future videos, but I think this is the exact route where I want to go, and I hope that you guys can appreciate this journey. And if you take any good advice from this, then obviously I'm gonna keep saying more of what I want to say now in this rebuild, because the world is changing fast. Let's keep it a buck. AI is gonna AI is gonna automate some skills for you guys. AI is gonna take people out of the workforce. AI is gonna make everything seem less emotional, you know, less communal. But the one thing that it can't replace is the soul of a human being who knows who they are. It can't replace the person who could sit across the room from you and make you feel seen. To make you feel seen. A person who could hold their own in any room. Not by talking the most, but by embodying power. This is the direction I want this channel to go towards. If you've ever been misjudged, misunderstood, or underestimated, this isn't your comeback story. This is just reclaiming what you've always had. But yeah, this is the end of the video, and I'm glad that you guys are now a part of this new journey of JoeProdigy. And I'm happy to take you guys along the way. If this video meant something to you, if you learned something from this video, go do something with it. Other than that, please make sure to like, subscribe, and develop a prodigy mindset and tackle your problems with everything you got. Take care. I believe in you. Peace.